What to do if my wife doesn't love me anymore. Hey guys, I have been through this twice. In my 20s and in my 30s, I've heard those dreaded words, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. And there can be a time when you go, oh, boo. Or you realize it's time to woo. So guys, today we're going to dig in on what to do when your wife doesn't love you anymore. Hey guys, Jeremy here, your mindset mastery and peak performance relationship guy. And truth is, I've been through this. I have been more than I would like to admit, but yeah, at least twice I've heard that phrase. And man, it slays. I came home from the hospital and needed to get kicked out. Like that was my second wake-up call. And that's when I decided I'm done with this. This is never happening to me again. And it hasn't. And I've been through several other relationships since that hospital visit, and everything is different. So today we're going to break down, what does that phrase really mean when she says she's not in love with you anymore? And really, love versus in love. How is that different for men versus women? And you want to make sure you stick around to the end, because I have a special resource for you, how to start igniting that passion back. And I'm definitely going to give you today the one thing you can do to start pivoting your relationship and your intimacy faster than you could believe possible. So let's dig in today on what to do when your wife doesn't love you anymore. Okay, so first off, what does this even mean? When you have an intimate relationship, you have something going on with this woman, and then I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Or she just says she doesn't love you anymore. And yet, what's going on? Are you guys still in a relationship? Are you still talking? Or is she completely stonewalling, cold shoulder, wants nothing to do with you? Those are two different realities, right? So the first thing, when she says she doesn't love you anymore, look at the words and look at her actions, because we're looking for where they overlap. Is this a test? Is this, I'm not happy with things? And so a lot of times when women are feeling certain feelings, they will communicate their feelings, and they will say and do whatever it takes to get you to feel what they are feeling. When that happens, that's, guys go into like this dissonance, this cognitive shutdown of like, well, I don't understand, and we're just trying to like win and do the right thing and solve the problem. And well, she said she doesn't love me anymore, so I guess we're done. I guess I'll leave. And now she's even more upset because, yeah, she said she didn't love you, but that doesn't mean she doesn't love you. That may mean she's just really upset with you and wants you to hurt the way she's hurting, because somehow in the feminine logic, if we feel what they feel, then we'll know what to do to fix the situation, which is not how men are built. That's not how we operate. That's not our function. So first step is you got to start looking at the words she's saying, but look at her meaning. Look at her actions. Because if she's still loving you, still supporting you, still making you food, even though she says she doesn't love you, maybe this is an opportunity to wake up and take new action. Now, I want you to hear the difference between two phrases. Number one, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, versus I don't love you anymore. Now, to the male brain, those sound pretty much the same thing. But for a feminine brain, that's two entirely different stories and two entirely different games to play. When she says that she loves you, but she's not in love with you, you got some hope here. Because the passion's not there, the attraction's not there, the juiciness, the playfulness, the energy flow. What she's really describing is that feeling of connection and playfulness and flirting and juicy goodness, that in love, biochemical butterflies in my stomach, I'm always thinking about him, means you guys are taking each other for granted. Means maybe you're stable with each other, you're comfortable with each other, we're great roommates. This is a very functional thing, and that happens, right? Being in love and out of love, like that flows up and down over the seasons of a relationship, because kid is sick, new baby is born, job transition, family members are struggling. Like there's all these different things that can pull on a person's emotions and their thoughts and their feelings. For a lot of guys, when they start to get erectile dysfunction, they're massively dealing with stress and overload and the meaning in their lives. So we get the experience of that out of love feeling. A lot of times it's in our bodies, and it's how we're activating ourselves and how we're showing up. But for women, it's more in how they feel connected to us or not, and if they're drawn towards us, if they're pulled towards us, if they're compelled to help us, or they see us as another child to raise or another thing that's pulling energy out of them. All of that's kind of contained in that love versus in love phrase. And if you've had this experience, I'd love to hear your comments down below. What was it like for you when you heard that dreaded, I love you, but I'm not in love with you? What was going on? And more important, what'd you do to get out of that situation? Now, on the other side, I'm not in love with you, or I don't love you, if she's stonewalling you, if she's cutting you out, if she's isolating you, she's She's not even, it's not like she's sitting near you on her phone, deliberately ignoring you, like obviously ignoring you. That's usually a sign like, come flirt with me, come pay attention to me. When she's just ghosted, and like when you're home, she's not, and every time you walk in the room, she walks out. We actually have a clip we did talking on this. You want to check that up here, okay? But whenever she's deliberately just distant from you, it's like, oh crap, this is actually a relationship that's dying. So there's the, I'm testing you. Do you really want this? Are you going to chase me? Are you going to fight for me? Are you going to pursue this? Or there's the, I'm effing done and there's the door, a-hole. Because those are two different things, right? It's not always because a woman says one thing, she doesn't mean it. No, that's not the case. There's a web of things to pay attention to. And sometimes when she means she's done, D-U-N, done, stick a fork in her, done, out. That's a whole different feeling. Okay. This love versus in love thing, I had a client that was in this place. He and his wife, they loved each other, but the in love feeling was going away. It turns out they were just out of polarity. He was a people pleaser. He had been raised by a mom and 4 sisters, so he knew exactly how not to be a man. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. And so he showed up in his relationship very people pleasing. I talked about this last week with Bob, right? So he showed up very, I'm going to support you. I'm going to encourage you. Anything I can do for you. And that's not what she needed over time. She needed him to take ownership and take leadership. And there were some points of friction in their lives where her admiration and respect was just dropping and dropping and dropping. And so she still loved him, but it was becoming less like her man and more like, you love a puppy. And just kind of yipping at her. And the polarity was completely off. But we pivoted it. And it's because we did one thing that I'm about to share with you in just a second. But before I do that, I want to remind you, stick all the way to the end because I have a special guide how you can start to take and pivot your relationship. It's an intimacy cheat sheet to reignite your passion. I'd love for you to check it out, okay? Now, the last thing you can do to start pivoting your relationship quicker than you think possible is you got to do this. Go back to when the two of you first got together. What was going on? How were you living? How were you operating? What was your passion? What were your dreams? What were you sharing with her? What were you talking with her about? Were you taking her for granted? Were you just expecting her to like do things around the house? Because when you guys first got together, what really drove this relationship, yeah, there was love and yeah, there was respect, but the most important secret ingredient is admiration. When you admire somebody else, you think about them, you're drawn to them. When both of you are admiring each other, life gets amazing. And there's an intensity and an energy that's different. And this is what I did for my client, is I helped him to rediscover how to own his own freaking space, to stand and make decisions, whether it made her happy or not, make decisions and own the outcomes. And as he started to do that, she was like, oh, I don't like that, but damn, that's hot. Like, she started to respond to him because he would push back against her. Instead of kissing her butt and trying to earn her approval, he had a clear vision for himself, for their family. When I first started working with him, they were on the edge of divorce. And by the end, they now have a 3rd child. And it's been the most amazing transformation. And truth is, we're at such a good place now. I haven't talked to him in months because his life is freaking rocking. His business is going great. His career. His wife is overjoyed with him. So get to the place. You admire your wife, but how can she admire you? That's the energy you've got to recreate. So you've really got to think about owning yourself, owning the moment. Be a man she can look up to. And your whole relationship will transform. Now that might seem like a really big step. So to help you, I've created a cheat sheet to reignite passion. And no, it's not about how to cheat. It's about how to hack the system so that you can start to recover the admiration, the respect, and the love that maybe has been missing for a while. So I'd love for you to check it out. It's pinned in the comments below, and it's also in the description. It's a free guide. I'd love for you to get your feedback. And I can't wait to get the next video out in a couple of days. I'll see you when I see you. Bye.